Do you think war geckos are just harmless house pets? Those little reptiles that scurry along your walls at night, making those soft clicking sounds? Well, if you think so, you have to think again, because after this story, you might never look at war geckos the same way again. And this isn't just about superstition.
If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please support us by hitting the subscribe button, like, share, and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks.
Our story takes us deep into the quiet town of Suwara, a place full of ordinary people, traders, mechanics, farmers, bus drivers. They lived simple lives, peaceful, uneventful, until he came. His name was Pastor Femi, but everyone called him God's first son. He was tall, calm, and powerful. He wasn't just respected in the community, he was revered. His church, the only one in the village, called the Deliverance Center. It was the biggest structure in the town, and almost everybody in Suwara worshipped there. Why? Because Pastor Femi was no ordinary man of God. His prophecies were accurate. His miracles, but they were legendary. He once healed a madman who had been insane for 30 long years. Another time, he cured the village chief of a strange flesh-eating disease. No hospital could help, but Pastor Femi, with one prayer and one handkerchief, the man walked out of his deathbed, and from that day, his word became law in Suwara. But it wasn't always this way. Just 3 years ago, Suwara was normal. People went to the clinic when they were sick. They lived by common sense and worked hard until Pastor Femi arrived, young, charming, and passionate. He moved from house to house preaching salvation, and with every prayer, he handed over a small white handkerchief. He called it the mantle of deliverance. The people believed, and from a few followers, his church became an empire. Now, among his strongest believers was the Tundi family, Mr. and Mrs. Tundi, and their only daughter Yemi. Mr. Tundi, who was once a cripple for 10 good years, walked again because of the pastor's prayers. His wife was a loyal cleaner in the church. Yemi, however, had been away serving in NYSC. She was bright, curious, faith-filled, but certainly not gullible. So one evening she called home and said, "Mommy, Daddy, I'm done with my youth service and I'll be coming back home next week." Her parents were so happy and ecstatic. Now guys, here is where it gets interesting. The very next day in church, Pastor Femi was giving prophecies as he always did after preaching a sermon. And suddenly he turned to Mrs. Tundi. "I see a female copper. Her name is Yemi." The whole church went silent. "Did anyone by that name call you yesterday?" Mrs. Tundi gasped. "Yes, that's our daughter." The crowd erupted. "Power, power, power." He told them to pray against accidents. And just like that, everyone was once again reminded that Pastor Femi was the real deal. Yemi returned home safely. Her parents hugged her like never before. They sat outside that evening laughing and sharing stories. But things were only just beginning. Now the next morning after waking up, during their family prayers, Yemi asked her parents to pray for her. "I applied for a job in an oil company in Lagos and I really want the job. Mom and Dad, please pray for me." So with that, they prayed. And after the prayers, Yemi noticed a fat war gecko on the ceiling. "Ew, why is that thing there?" Mrs. Tunde shrugged it. "It's always there, don't bother yourself." But Yemi grabbed a broom and whacked it. the gecko was dead, or so she actually thought. At church the next Sunday, Yemi joined her parents for service. Pastor Femi preached that Sunday nothing too deep. He always reminded them that, "I am not a preacher of word, I am a man of war." But during prophecy, he called out Yemi. "Yemi, that's your name, right?" She nodded. "You applied for a job in an oil company." Yemi froze. She was surprised. She hadn't told anyone but her parents. "You have an interview in 2 weeks. Now take this handkerchief. Pray with it every night. Don't miss a day or you won't get the job." Yemi surprised, but she took it and obeyed. But on the 3rd day, the handkerchief vanished. "Mom, have you seen my handkerchief?" Mrs. Tundi smiled casually. "Oh, I haven't seen it too, but mine is also missing too." So no one bothered. After the interview, Yemi didn't get the job and she cried with her mom. Now back at the church, Pastor Femi prophesied again. "I see rejection because you didn't complete the prayers." The crowd, they shouted, "Power, power." But Yemi was confused. How come this man knows about all this? Now she started joining the church choir. She wanted to feel useful. One night during prayers, she noticed a fat war gecko on the ceiling and she shouted, "Jesus!" The war gecko hissed and she screamed. Her father rushed in and chuckled. "Just a war gecko. They loved that corner. Just forget about it." But night after night, it came back. Every night at exactly 12:07. So she sprayed insecticides, but nothing happened. It would vanish only when she started personal conversation or made calls, then it will come back again. One Wednesday morning, Yemi cried in her room after a phone call. She didn't tell her mom why, but her boyfriend had broken up with her. On Sunday, Pastor Femi pointed at her again. 3 nights ago, you cried. You said, "God, why did you allow Shuka to break my heart?" Shuka was her ex. No one knew that. Yemi's heart dropped. Something wasn't right. How did this man know about this? So that night, she dreamt of Pastor Femi whispering to war geckos, and they responded back to him. She woke up in sweats. This wasn't prophecy. This was witchcraft. She remembered something. Every month, Pastor Femi visits every member's house to pray. But what if he was planting something? So she had an idea and set a trap. She turned on her phone recorder and began speaking loudly in prayers. "Lord, I am thinking of moving to Abuja." And so she prayed. Now the next Sunday, Pastor Femi as usual gave a prophecy and he called her out. "I see relocation. Abuja is your next destination." And just like that, Yemi smiled. She had confirmed that indeed Pastor Femi was spying on her. But how? But the big moment came during choir rehearsal. Pastor Femi came and gave all of them new handkerchiefs. This time, Yemi went home and used a cortez to mark a tiny spot on the handkerchief. 2 days later, as usual, the handkerchief vanished. She searched everywhere, but she couldn't find it until she opened her wardrobe one afternoon. She saw a war gecko, fat, but she noticed something on the war gecko's body, a tiny red stain on its back. Her heart skipped. She was confused. How come the war gecko had the same mark she had spotted on the handkerchief? Now this is just the pattern of this story. The interesting part will be coming out soon. Just subscribe to get notified.
For more interesting and amazing stories like this, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and thanks for watching. We love you.